Hello, welcome back and Happy New Year. Behind me you'll see the Kaleidescape DiscVault that I've been repairing, taking apart, putting back together, etc. Although one thing I failed to realise or mention in the last video was that when I finished reassembling it, I had one little screw left over. Whoops. Luckily, I was taking pictures of every piece that I was removing as I was removing it. And I also had the guide to hand for taking this apart for replacing the disk drive, the optical drive. It took me all of, 15 seconds to realise where the missing screw goes. Today, join me on the journey of opening this back up again for the third time now, putting the missing screw back in, then yeah, it's time for final testing, I suppose, and taking it back to the customer. Now, I've got some new tools to make taking this apart a lot easier, because previously I was using standard Allen keys, which, yeah, speed, torque. I don't need a lot of torque because these screws are all fairly low torque. Without further ado, let's open it up. So the missing screw in question is what holds down the optical drive assembly, and as you can see there, these screws have a shoulder bolt design, see, like a squared head shoulder bolt design. This side, that hole right there, is a completely different thread, and there were no more of these screws left over, so that threw me a bit and I was confused, and I figured, okay, maybe there isn't actually a screw that goes there. And it wasn't until I put on the entire case that I realised there is one screw left over. This screw is exactly the same as the external case screws, and it's also the same thread that goes in there. And this is what I verified in the guide for taking this apart, that the screw that goes in there is indeed one of these round-headed. Yeah, you get the idea. That's got to go in there and then put all this back together again. Okay, so as you can see here, I've been struggling a bit with getting these back in. Now, having disassembled and reassembled this a few times, I've not realised or noticed if there's a certain sequence in which they need to be done up or undone, or whatever, but for some reason, whatever I've done here has misaligned the outer case, and these bottom three are just not lining up with the screw holes. I'm going to have to loosen all of them again, rejig the outer case, and then see what she says. Okie dokie, there it is, assembled again, except for the front plate that I need to put on. Let's do it now, over here. Gosh, I had a bit of trouble with a couple of the screws having cross-threaded, because where this is only thin sheet metal, and the screws are fairly soft material themselves, cross-threading occurs easily, especially when the holes don't line up. I did only basically finger tighten the screws because, believe it or not, I have to open this up in its entirety one more time to manually load in all the discs, and then go through the process of ejecting all 320 discs or however many were in there, and then feeding them back in one by one, because obviously the discs were manually removed by opening it up because the carousel couldn't turn because of the little lever arm thing being stuck. Not looking forward to that, but it needs to be done to get it back in working again. So thank you for watching, if you've been watching so far, and if you've watched these last couple of Kaleidescape disassembly and fixing and fault finding videos. I know they've not been terribly insightful in that I didn't record any of the physical fixing, just the before and after, but if you have any questions or are experiencing similar issues, I mean, leave a comment down below. I'll drop a link to the part that I found that hopefully fixed the issue with this DiscVault. Only time will tell. I'll probably find out next week when I'm reinstalling it how well or how efficiently it's working, because obviously the process of feeding all of the discs back into the DiscVault, each disc is going to have to be loaded in and out of the optical drive, which will require several activations or actuations of that stepper motor that has been replaced. I will report back after that. In the meantime, wish me luck while I go and reinstall this.